All right, good evening, everybody. I am Jared Napolitano, aka JNap. I'm here filling in for Dan Tartaglione for the June 1st, 2022 episode of Star Wars CCG Holotheatre. This is my third week filling in, might be my last. We've been doing these light versions where I've been taping these interviews, so looking forward to another episode. This week, the interviewee and special guest is none other than PC Hall of Famer Jonny Chu, two-time world champion, probably one of the most accomplished players in the game. I think it's basically him and Bastion is what a lot of people will say are the two best players ever. But yeah, so it was a really good interview. So we'll play that in the second half here. We'll do like a tour around the game and just kind of touch on what exciting things are going on. But yeah, we'll do a sticker book token. I have a special giveaway of some Outrider virtual slips. These are non-foil. These are really cool. This is going to be the first time. I have my trivia question all queued up. So we'll do that, 5-10 minutes tops. But yeah, we'll go around the league. Still around the league. Thinking of my fantasy baseball. Go around the game. Any questions in the chat? I'd be happy to interact a little bit. But yeah, it'll just kind of be the standard. I do think I finally have the capability to host people, but maybe another time. Just don't want to risk any technical issues. Okay, all right. So with done that preamble, let's jump in. The very first thing I want to touch on is a reminder of the Twitch subscription incentive program. This is on. You can get to this. Just go to StarWarsCCG.org, search Twitch on the top right. This is the first article that comes up. Those of you watching, many of you probably already are aware of the Twitch subscription incentive program, where you subscribe. You can use your Amazon Prime. You can link it to get a free subscription, or you could just do the more traditional subscribe to the PC account. This earns the PC inflows, revenues they can put towards streaming stuff and just general mission for the organization as well. So this year we have this AI for Yoda's Hut, which is the 24-month. When people reach that, they get that. Also, some members of the streaming team that have done pretty significant contributions are getting these. But everyone who does any submission, whether it's your 36-month or your first month, you'll receive the communing foil. So this article has all the details, what you got to do in order to get your proof and get the sign off and have this accrued and added to your prizes. So just want to remind people of that, especially in the next week if you hit a milestone, or month I should say. I'm going to be doing a pretty substantial prize support shipment, another week or 2 or 3. I'll touch upon that in a minute, but definitely the next 4 or 5 weeks I think are going to be pretty big for prize shipments. All right, next, going on, just started, I guess, about 25 hours ago, the 2022 Father's Day Fundraiser event. This is for all of June. It's basically play games, earn prizes, support a really good cause. It's the UCLA Institute of Urologic Oncology. This is we're putting together a program really to support prostate cancer research, education, and healthcare. The folks in this organization, they do all types of studies and work on healthcare for trying to prevent, I guess, and cure. I shouldn't say I guess. I know prostate cancer, which is the second leading second most common type of cancer in men. So lots of fathers in the community. Hopefully they can, get in the max. There's a maximum of 20 games, but 12 is where you max out your prizes. We have some special AI foil slips down here. You can also get these digitally on GEMP. If you play 4 games, you can get the GEMP Series 3 AI packs. If you play 8 games and a second copy of these 2 cards, which would be good for like your hunt down deck if you want 2 copies of I Am Your Father. So play games, do well, encouraging people to play, not your cutthroat competitive tier 1 decks, but maybe something a little more fun to play that, so it's kind of like a modified Jawa, we'll say. But if you play Old Allies, you don't get any prizes. That's just my rule, but no, I'm kidding. You can play Old Allies, but if you're playing me, I will huff and puff. So that is the Father's Day Fundraiser. Also, 4 players who play 8 games or more will get into a raffle for a Japanese Mara Jade card, a foil slip. And that's pretty cool. We're going to be doing this for a couple different events, but this is the first opportunity to get those. So We have almost 100 people signed up. I actually probably by now we do. I know we had a couple more. I know Drew just told me he sent in a registration. I know Matt Sokol just signed up. Um, so we're at 97. We've raised over $3,300, which is awesome. I'm going to talk to Scott. I would like to get like a big check, like in the golfing events, if we can maybe have Ryan Jellison or Batmouse drive over to UCLA and drop it off and say, we had this cause and we hope this goes to good use. Or I shouldn't say we hope. We know it'll go to good use. And I've been just amazed at the generosity and the enthusiasm for this event, this cause, to this. To this event. The community has just really stepped up, and it's really been amazing. So I think that number will go up. What I did was I kind of layered on a late deadline, just because I know that once people see these Gemp games, they're going to be like, oh, I wish I signed up. Can I still sign up? So I kind of laid it out of like, hey, everyone, please sign up May 30th. I'll add everybody, hit the ground running. If you realize that you want to join 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days into the thing, that's still fine. We're not going to turn people away from contributing to a cause and playing Star Wars CCG and earning prizes. But I think once we get to about June 7th, I think we're going to try to avoid, keep tacking people on. So I just don't want to be updating every day, adding more people. So hopefully by 6 days from now, hopefully I have a nice, solid, robust list. I mean, we already have a very robust participant list. So this is going really good. I played one game last night. I played against Ryan Surfson. He busted out his Mind What You Have Learned deck. It was fun, but it kind of went my way. But yeah, we had a couple good battles, so that was good. All right, next checking in. Online Championship Series, June, the 4th month of 6, the first month of the Season 2, we'll call it, where one standalone at-large bid is on the line. I guess we'll be seeing players like Silver Glenn, who last year took the first 3 months off and then kind of made it a priority to be ready for the Season 2. He took one of the 2 qualifying spots. Last year, there were 2 spots per month for a total of 12, plus 2 at-larges for each season. This year, it switched up a little bit, where there's 1 at-large per each mini-season and 2 at-larges for the whole year. MHT, Matthew Harrison Trainer, took the at-large for Season 1, with Drew with his 33-3 Season 1 record, actually getting one of the 2 at-larges for the month, and 12-0 Brad Kipple. Brad and Drew both now qualified for their 3rd straight OCS, which is really impressive. And actually, Jonny and I talked a little bit about Brad Kipple in the interviews, so that was neat and timely. And then MHT is his 2nd year. I don't think he really participated in 2020 and before. And yeah, they joined Bastion, Taco Bill, Justin Desai, and who is the 4th? Cryptophus, Zemowet. Are the other. So that's 7 out of the 16 spots have been claimed. So that's June OCS. You can go to store.starwarsccg.org to sign up at $10 for the month. So we just recapped who's there. I'm not even going to pull up the OCS scoreboard because there's only been a couple games. But yeah, we got lots of, just checking in on Gemp, there's a lot of good leagues going on right now. Lots of different types of leagues. We got our sealed events. We got our standard open and Jawa league events. Then we have a lot of these geographical region events, of which I'm the Coruscant one down here, which is Jawa, Corellia, Outer Rim, Bespin. Looks like people are doing some more open. NorCal, the Retro League, which I just joined. That's going to be really fun. There's 55 players, I think, officially. Jonny and his 2 sons signed up for it, so we talked a little bit about that. And there'll be 2 more events in that league, which people can still sign up for, but signups for event 3 of the Retro League are now closed. So we tried to promote that as much as possible. We have the Tatooine Deaver, aka Denver League. I'm going to bet that was Batmouse's handiwork. But yeah, and of course we have the OCS for June, and we have the Father's Day Fundraiser event, which I've been adding people as they sign up, and yeah, we'll probably crack 100 with this. So yeah, so lots going on. Good to see these different events, and of course Gemp just allows people to play all different types of stuff. Looks like we got a course on Jawa, Swiss. That's my league with Wayne and Gurgle, 2 Long Island players. 2 really good guys. We got a retro league going on. So lots of different stuff, and Father's Day Fundraiser going on. I just saw Matt Sperling made a pretty cool comment in the Slack chat about how he's having a lot of fun with the Father's Day Fundraiser event. And yeah, and I think that's these opportunities, and this is like Chris Kelly's brainchild, and I know Chris talks a lot about fun and how design always does want to make cards that are for all types of players, not just the tier 1 super competitive players, but players who want to do some thematic stuff, do some very anti-thematic stuff. And yeah, and I think this is a good event to try it out, play some cards that you don't see too often. So that is checking in on Jemp. I'll do the sticker book token giveaway now. I have the post here, which has all the details. So if you're watching this on Twitch, I usually try to put these in the YouTube descriptions, but that is everything you need to know about the program. I'm going to name a card. You can send your submission to holotheatre@starwarscg.org and give Dan some bookkeeping to do. The token for this week is lateral damage, so that is going to be the card that you include in the body of your email. And you'll see why this card is the token in my chat with Jonny in the second half of this episode. So pretty good story that goes with that. So yeah, we have lots of packs. Like I said, I'm gonna start doing prizes. Some people are getting 15, some people are getting 20 some people are getting 2, which cool. There's gonna be 2 more rounds of these, so people want to try to get a lot more, or trade them, try to complete their sticker books. You could print out the PDF and then start pasting these mini card stickers, and then you also get these these super unique foil paper. They have like stars on them. They're really cool, and they're down here somewhere. The picture here from Kevin. Yeah, here we go. These are really cool. So yeah, they're really neat. So sticker book token is lateral damage. I'll do a couple more, and then a couple more reminders and check-ins, and then I'll do the Outrider V giveaway. Donations program, just want to update with this. I'm very excited. Yesterday I went to the post office. I dropped off 14 boxes for people who donated in the second half of 2021. This took a little longer than I was hoping for, but that's still okay. We said early 2022 was the target, so we're approaching middle. But hopefully I was able to slip some 2022 donor stuff in. If some people had overlap, some other prizes, like I sent, like Greg Shaw, Taco Bill had some stuff, so I got them their like May OCS foil slips. Always trying to consolidate as many things in the package as possible. The pint glasses are in there. I try to do my best job to package them if they break. And if you're watching this and if you receive one of these, let me know. We have replacements, and we'll figure out a more safer way to get them to you, either at an in-person event, or I'll just have to significantly up the packaging on them. But I put handle with care on them. I package them as carefully as possible. There are 6 more I still have to ship. I just need the caps for the big poster tubes for the people getting uncut sheets. So this is like Connor, Lyndon, I think Macaroni's getting one, a couple more folks. So those hopefully going out within a week. Lyndon I'll probably batch with some UK stuff. But yeah, and then 2021 donations will be in the books, and I will be very happy. 2022 donations, we just about have all the stuff we need. Scott's actually sending me a whole batch of foils tomorrow, and I acquired a couple things this week, and I'm going to start cranking those out. We have 120 donors for 2022, which is awesome. I don't have the poker buttons yet. Hopefully they're coming soon from Kevin and Chris Menzel. They're coming through the UK. So once I get those, anyone who's a tier 4 or 5, I can send your stuff out, but I'm going to start working through the tier 3 to 1s, because I should have everything I need for those. And try to do 5, 10, maybe a day, or maybe take an off day here and there, but hopefully want to get them out soon. And the tricky thing, not the tricky thing, but the some people opt out of things, some people have earned other incentives. So, putting together a box with everyone's prizes, and again, trying to consolidate the donor stuff with the other stuff is so each of them might take 10 minutes, or it might take a little more. Then packaging everything and making sure nothing gets, the slips don't get bent, all that fun stuff. So I'll work as fast as I can. I think, I know I have a couple ideas for next year, just to make it a little smoother, a little less labor intensive, but I mean, this is a good problem. We've had a lot of people contribute this year, and record-setting number of donors, record-setting amount, and I think that's really, really great for helping us do all these different things. And one of the things is have prizes, unique prizes for different events, for free events, like the Decipher Card Only retro event that just happened, and Jonny and I talk a little about that. So we'll keep the prizes coming, and we just always want people to keep playing the game, keep getting other people to play the game, and keep building this awesome community that we have. Let me do U.S. Nationals. So the COVID policy, I think I mentioned this last week, is announced. It's vaccine required, and masks are going to be required in the gaming room. I the payment amounts for prizes has been approved. It's so I think pretty soon it's going to be up in the store. We're at about I think 6.5 weeks out to the event, July 15th to 17th. We got the pins in motion. Most of the prizes are about ready. I think I'm going to do golf balls. If anyone, I know not everyone plays golf, but I also, just because you get a golf ball doesn't necessarily mean you have to take it out on the golf course and start hitting it. But maybe it's just like a, neat little thing for your office. Or you can trade with somebody for some other type of swag that they want. But I think that'll be one of the two TBD items. And I'm not sure we're going to do on the other one, but have a pretty nice list of ideas that the community's been really good at providing. I think at some point, maybe later this year, we'll do some type of survey just to, hey, what do you guys like? What do you not like? What do you want to see more of? That type of stuff. What stuff do you want to be more accessible? And yeah, so we will add those swag items, PC swag items for nationals. All right, let me take a break here. Let's do the giveaway. So again, I have these Outrider V AIs. At some point these are going to be in the PDF. Probably another year or two. But in the meantime, I have these non-foil ones that we can use for some, different giveaways. Anyone who participated in the Outrider Cup in 2019 or 2021 will get foil ones of these. Actually, they're in the batch that Scott is sending me tomorrow, batch of foils. Yeah, right. Yeah, golf PC golf balls. That's good. Yeah, Brian Fred will collect them all. Actually, Brian Fred's going to have a good opportunity to collect a lot of these things, which I know he likes. The sleeves for the AIs, these are going to start getting sent out. Everyone is OCS, not everyone wants the sleeves. So I know Brian Fred always wants them. But the Outrider V AI, real quick story on this. So this image was actually discovered over 2.5 years ago. And basically it was an instance where we had the image, we didn't have a card yet. So as part of winning the 2019 Outrider Cup, it was basically like a player card for Team USA, which was Chris Kelly, Greg Shaw, Chris Werfs, Joe Olson, Justin Desai, and Brian Mischke. So they generated Outrider V, which was released not too long ago. And now we have this AI, and we can foil it for participants to Outrider Cup. And it doesn't have a blank lure, so we can't kind of do the Outrider Cup winner type thing. I guess maybe we could stamp it somehow. But I think in the meantime, more important is to get this out. So this is kind of 2.5 years old from the 2019 one. So yeah, so we have these. So here's the question. I'm going to ask a question. If you are watching this on a replay, you can send an email with the answer to marketing@starwarsccg.org. And I'll just randomly pick a couple people. I said 2. I'm feeling generous. We'll do 4 total. So I'll do 2. So the 2 fastest people in the live chat, and then 2 of the people that submit on marketing. But I'll just read the chat about the golf balls. So yeah, maybe those are a hit. I already got the pricing out. I think that'll be a quick order and turnaround. But all right, so here is the trivia question. It's a Decipher card that I'm looking for. So hopefully this is equal to people who are watching this who are open players, who are old school players. And it's another thing that touches that Jonny mentions casually in our chat. But I want you to name a unique Ithorian character, not Momo Nadon. So there's 3 options, which I thought there was 1. Found out there was 3. So I need a unique Ithorian character, not named Momo Nadon. I need the name. Do I want to enforce spelling? I think I'll do if you're close, I'll take it. So no, I need a unique one. All right, Wayne's got 1, right? If I'm reading, I've done this before where I've missed somebody. It looks like Wayne has 1, and Bill gets the other one. All right, so you guys get them. Are you guys playing a game right now, Wayne and Gurgle? Or maybe your game wrapped up. All right, so Wayne and, as I drop one, Stimpy. So Stimpy and Kiss My Wookie. We'll get them. And then again, if you're watching this on replay, feel free to send an email. I know the European players will slant that way. There's, Murdanad, Deneb, Both, and as you guys will see in the chat here, I guess I'll leave the 3rd one. Maybe someone could, you can look this up, but like I said, that's where it won't be not expecting our European friends to stay up or send this at 6 a.m. their time. Yeah. So, all right. So that's the Outrider V. Let's go back here. So league championships, just want to give a shout out. Like we touched upon, there's a lot of leagues going on. If you are, and the leagues have been doing a good job of doing all formats. Some have been doing all the Jedis. I think Bestman did like a premiere to Reflections too. So, if you're a player in these regions, just if you're not an open player, don't think that that means there's no events for you. You can always win lots of prizes. You might get a deck box, you get foils, you get poker chips. The kits come with different stuff, and of course, the best thing, playing cards and helping build a community, hanging out, and having good friendly games. So I think, these were before COVID. People would do these local get-togethers a few times a year. I think Gem's been a good way to kind of at least keep some of the conversation going. And now that we're, hopefully the worst is behind us, that we're doing like a mix. A lot of these leagues are doing a mix of in person and online. And the online and the Gem are obviously a little bit better for like old formats, like all the Jedi or throwback events. So you don't have to build the decks and all. So plays in. So just want to encourage everybody. If you see on Gem, there's lots of leagues going on, different regions. There's a region map in this league championship forum. I think I sticky that at some point. Yeah, region maps. So if you're not sure what region you are, and also in the this lists out states and countries that are a part of different ones. But yeah, we have the map here. Whoops, wrong one. Region maps. So yeah, I think Yavin 4 has been gradually annexing parts of Dagobah, which actually is a segue. Dagobah states and regionals, Drew and Kessling are organizing them. So they just got approved, so that's exciting. One of the cool things that we're doing is, and Sam Tashima has been leading this up, are getting region-specific pins for regional events. And they'll probably be used for, if people want to use them for the league kits, that's fine too. But this one's one of my favorites. This is Ryloth, which is the Netherlands. They have a pretty active league over there run by Eric, and I think Flores helps. And they do some really creative events. They did like an Outrider themed event, Outrider Cup, the 2021 format, which was cool. So we have these. Every region has one. Most of them are done. I'm not sure if they're going to be 100% done, but I think we're going to order a batch and then distribute them, and then we get the other batch. Like if you watched last week's episode, Tula and the Whippids, that's one we still need to iron out, but it'll probably be like a silhouette or illustration of the Whippid or Whiffid, however it's pronounced. Touch real quick. Dagobah regional states, Georgia states, North Carolina states is next weekend in Mint Hill, North Carolina, run by Scott B. If you're in that area, if you're close, go hang out. It's going to be an open event. Minnesota, Washington, they're the same weekend. I'm sure there'll be a handful more. I got prize kits ready to ship and can always create more should they roll in. European Nationals also fall under this, although I don't think we've had any of those technically scheduled yet. With regionals, I know there's a handful of those scheduled. I'm working to try to get Coruscant one on the calendar for sometime in August, and that's going to be right outside of Philadelphia, near where I live. Naboo Regional. This one looks like it's got a lot of people. Kevin Yopp's organizing this, and probably Paul. It's already up to 22, so that's really great to see. I got to ship Kevin his kit. And Malmo just happened. Bothawui's in 2 weeks, run by Eric Garchow, maybe 2.5 weeks. There's always a good time. Deck lists are required for regionals, and some special prizes are on the line too. All right, we're coming up on 27 minutes. We talked about the retro event, of course. So let's recap this. I need to crank an article out to kind of put a bookend on the event. Of course, Jonny Chu won. Him and Justin were matched up for the semifinal. They played Saturday morning. Robbie streamed. They did game one. I think Jonny won the first one really big, and in addition to the awkwardness of playing your teammate when you know all their decks, or both their decks, Justin conceded the second game. So Jonny technically won that one. Baroni defeated Casey in the other one. And for bookkeeping purposes, Baroni scoops the final to Jonny. So Jonny technically wins, but it's KTOD, victory, and they're splitting the prizes up. I think it was a good event. I asked Jonny some of his thoughts on the format, so that's included in the interview, so I don't want to delve too far into it. But thanks to everyone for participating. Again, the special foils for this event and a lot of the prizes, or a lot of the other prizes I have ready to go, the foils are in the batch I'm getting tomorrow from Scott. So I'll start clipping those out and putting them in packages, and it's the battle order and battle plan. There are C-slips, which are not ideal for foils, but I think they'll look cool. We got special poker chips. I think those green device ones haven't been given out. It's somewhere where I list in the collecting forum. I have a post for the poker chips that what's the reason for everything. Hyperroute navigation charts. I have a bunch of these I'm gonna hand out. I know if you went to World, you got one of these already. So some people, like I shipped Shaw's donation shipment, he participated in this. I didn't send him a navigation chart, and these are really good to send to people who are organizing events because they can drop them at the store. They're kind of like a marketing tool. They're a game aid as well, but for people that are running events, and if you're ever running events, I know Brian Fred puts them in his shipments with the store just to help promote the game. There's marketing stuff about follow the PC on Twitter, follow it on, you can join Discord and all the other places you can follow the PC. And we just ordered a new design, which is going to be really cool. So those should be arriving soon. So yeah, and top 8 stuff. We got a couple more uncut sheets. The winners of the Curse and Dark Side sheet. I pulled that. I went last week with Scott to the storage unit and got a lot of stuff out. We'll order glass trophy mugs similar to the way the Gem PC works. Assuming the guys want them. They're pretty cool. They're very functional. They're like glass coffee mugs, which I think are cool and delicate. All right, so that's that. I think that's pretty much everything. We did the sticker book token. I did a giveaway. Yes, I'll just do a quick lead in. This is the AI for the donations program. I have non-foils of these that every single donor gets a non-foil version, and I think it's the tier 2 and up get the foil version. I'm gonna have all those on hand. But yeah, so Jonny, I reached out to him even before the final was kind of settled. It's just been really cool seeing him playing again. He obviously, like I said, really accomplished. I think the last maybe organized event or last major he played in was the 2019 Endor Grand Prix. But yeah, really happy he was so easy to schedule and hop on. And I haven't really had a lot of interactions with Jonny before this. I was in the Fantasy Baseball League with Team Albany with like Sokol, and I think Taco Bill and Matt Curley were in it as well. And we talked trades a couple times. I think I've seen him in passing in a couple events, but it was just my experiences more recently have just been awesome. He's such a genuine person, and I really like talking about the game, current, past, future. Talking about how he's teaching his kids how to play, which is really cool. And there's some really neat moments in this interview. So it's about 35 minutes, so we're gonna go a little over here. But yeah, I think it's well worth it. So I'll do what I've been doing, where I just shut down, play the interview. Let me know if you can't hear, and I'll troubleshoot. But it should not be an issue. Fingers crossed. All right. So thanks everyone for tuning in. As Dan said above, he is looks like he's coming back with a vengeance next week to host. And yeah, and it's always good for everyone to participate to this Holotheatre. Really great program, and all the work that Dan and Queso and Robbie and everyone has been involved, all the Holotheatre heroes. It's a pretty sweet program, and I'm happy that we can take this opportunity to just kind of do a survey of what's going on in the game once a week on Wednesday nights. All right, so with that, I'll stop babbling, and I'll play the interview. All right, thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. All right. Hey, welcome everybody. Jared Napolitano here, JNav. I'm here with a very special guest. We have Jonny Chu joining Holotheatre this week as a special guest. How's it going?
Good. How are you, Jared?
Yeah, I'm doing great. And I'm sure most people know this, but obviously Jonny's, probably one of the 2 or 3, maybe at the worst case 5, but probably more like 2 or 3 most accomplished players ever in Star Wars CCG. So this is a real pleasure, and I'm hoping that everyone will really enjoy this chat with Jonny. I think you all will. So a few items to talk about. First, congratulations on winning the retro event for 2022. Nice job.
Thanks.
That was an interesting
team effort.
Yeah. So we'll jump into that, but definitely a few items we want to go through during this interview. So let's start. This was a phrase that you used that you're kind of been unretired lately. Where I see a lot of people kind of go in and out of the game, they take breaks. But yeah, it was interesting. So what kind of brought you out of retirement, we'll say?
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember the last Worlds I went to. It was definitely pre-pandemic, maybe 2018 or 17.
Because 19 was Euros. I don't think you went to that one, right?
Yeah, so I didn't go do that. But I've been in touch with Justin. I know he's still been playing, Justin Desai, and we talk, like once a year or something, just see how we're doing. And I tried to get back in. I was free during the pandemic, like kind of a lot of us were. And Worlds was, I think, in January or something. And like the set that came out with Huntdown V and Shadow Collective came out, and so Justin was trying to get back. He tries to get me back in from time to time, and I looked at it and I spent about a month trying to build decks and stuff. But I think for me, the modern game is so fast. Like by turn 2, if you're not activating, 12 to 15 and threatening a chain of 2 plus, like you're doing something wrong. And so what I like about the old formats is that it's just the game is slower. It's like chess. I like the opening in chess a lot, and there's, in my opinion, there's a lot of room for variety in that. And I was finding, at least for that format, and that was pre-errata Huntdown V, like every light deck started with 2 virgins, and I didn't love that. And what I like about the retro, so Justin told me about the retro event, and I didn't off the top of my head know what the top decks were or whatever. I mean, I don't, but yeah, it was interesting. I still love the game. I play the game with my kids at home. They're like 11 and 9 now, and so my boys. So I thought it'd be a good way to get them into the game. I brought them to a tournament in Minnesota over the last summer, and they really enjoyed that. So I thought it'd be a good way to get them in, and then I can't play the game without like taking it seriously. So it's like, then I spent a lot of time building decks, and so I got sucked back in.
Yeah, that's cool. With the retro event is neat, just because you see it from a different angle. That was one of the things. I mean, maybe we'll bounce around a little bit here, but one of the things I definitely wanted to ask you is, I mean, the skeptic might say of that Decipher cards only format that like you'd have to play Senate or Combat or you're going to lose. But I don't know if that's necessarily the case. It looked like Steve submitted a Hunt Down. You submitted a Watch Your Step for the top 4. Watch Your Step seems pretty decent still in that. I guess as you were playing your games, what were your take on the meta now, 20 years later, kind of?
Yeah, again, I had no idea what to expect, but I was, Senate and Combat seemed to be kind of the clear top decks. Senate for dark, Combat for light. But yeah, like because the game is slower, I mean, Senate's still pretty fast, but since the game is slower, like there's room. So the Watch Your Step, I feel like Watch Your Step is like historically bad against Senate, but I tried to build a version that could hang. Obviously there are shields for a reason, and there are a lot of shields for in open, for a good reason. And so it's kind of fun to kind of go back to that meta where there are shields, but it's like, they're limited. I think Senate needs a shield or 3.
Yeah.
And I remember like the different Senate shields over the years, to get to where we are now with open. I mean, there's a good reason for those for sure, but I enjoyed them. I mean, I played Senate in Combat mostly in the qualifying round, but I just didn't want to play Combat, and I felt like it, just like any match play format, you can tech for certain decks, and you saw that with Justin and Steve. Their light side Senate decks are like hard anti-Senate. So then I still wanted to play Dark Senate because I still thought it was the best deck, and so I had to try to come up with a strategy that could hang against the hard anti-decks, and I wasn't sure what Casey was going to play. So the way we approached it was just, since Justin, Steve, and I were all in the top 4, like we just wanted to make sure. Sorry, Casey. Since he went 11 and 1, it's like we want to make sure we could handle Casey. So that was a little bit of the spread. The reason too, because we thought if he played something that was hard anti-Senate, if we were all in Senate, that wouldn't make any sense. So Steve played the Hunt Down. And that was a little bit of the rationale behind Watch Your Step too. Although I was surprised one of us didn't play Combat, but Justin toyed with it for a while. But the Lights at Senate made a lot of sense.
Yeah, and just anyone watching, the deck lists are on the website. They're a jump in portable format, so everyone could check out the top 4 list that way. And then there was of course the dynamic, which natural to happen. You guys have a team of ridiculously strong players, so it's probably happened many times over the years where you guys get in this top 4 match play situation and kind of like a team approach, which is neat. I know some people, I'm sure, want to see the match played out, but I can understand how it could be pretty awkward. And even your game with Justin probably was, you guys know each other's decks and all that, so it's tricky, right?
It was tricky, and my kids were clamoring they wanted the sheet, the uncut. We have like a room of like uncut sheets, and of course, on the the rare dark. I mean, that's a nice sheet, but again, it just made the most sense to split like from a team perspective, and there wasn't any it's awkwardness. You don't ever want to like tech for your teammates. And we're all we're older, we're busy, and we didn't want to approach it that way.
Right, for sure. Yeah, especially in the match play angle, because then it gets pretty crazy. But yeah, so I know a lot of people come into the game, they take this approach of maybe, let me learn Premier to New Hope, let me add on sets. And I kind of think, I think that's one extreme. On the other end, the other extreme would be just jump into open, which is pretty overwhelming. So I kind of think these like Premier to Death Star 2, Premier maybe to Cipher cards only to some extent, and then maybe layering in some stuff is kind of a neat way to bridge it. But yeah, that was one of the things I thought as I was playing my games. Like, I just want the Senate shield, I just want the combat shield, and I just want the Watch Your Step shield. If I can almost have those three, I feel like it would do a lot, right?
Yeah, I think there's room for a format like that, like a custom format. And if people like the Cipher only, but they want to see what it would be like without Senate being like 99% of the decks, I mean, I would be down for any kind of, custom approach. I mean, and even we talked about that like in years past about like what to do about redux or a reset or something, and what do we do with the Decipher cards like Blizzard 4, Hanshui Falcon, the ones that are clearly over the power curve, and there at least in the past had been discussion about maybe not doing, not having those around. And I think there's always room for for something like that, especially with Jump Out, where it's so easy to just.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I know Steve Skilton tried like called it a limited resources format, but I think his was it's tough getting the right balance. Like, you don't want to be too many, X listed cards.
Totally.
You want to keep it relatively simple and not have the meta so foreign, but also, solve some of the issues. But yeah, let me ask you, so how have you been kind of training your kids how to play? Have you done kind of the build-up approach? Or I know Walsh has had some pretty neat tutorials or approaches that he's conveyed and used in his school for all these years.
Yeah, sure. I mean, so I like during the pandemic, I think I sent Gogol in like $60 or something, and he just sent like a box of cards. So we don't have a ton of cards. Like, I have a lot of my cards. I don't really want to just open the spigot and let them have all my cards. I'm not there yet. But they built a collection. Like, Gogol sent a lot of good, just a spread, like just chunks of cards. So the three of us are just playing. We made decks out of those cards for a while, and then because of that Minnesota tournament, that was, I think, I don't remember the format. There were shields, but it was, I think, Decipher only or something like that. It was something like that, but there were shields, so it was a bit of a hybrid. But I feel like these tournaments that you guys are doing now that offer rares and stuff, and of course at the Minnesota event, like, people were super generous and they gave like my kids a lot of commons, a lot of rares too. I mean, the Minnesota crew is really nice, but I'm kind of viewing these formats as a way to build up their collection, and we're pretty strict about screen time, so they don't get a ton of screen time, and so it's way easier to play with the cards they have than play open. But they go on and they build decks with like clones and like all sorts of stuff, and we don't really have I don't have a method, but every card they read is another card that they know, so at this point, like, I also have like a binder with like every card, like we all have a set of something, and so like they'll flip through that and like.
All right. Yeah, the off limits, the collector's collection, right?
Totally. And I'm hoping to take them to Worlds this year. I don't know if I can get time off from work, but I'm not sure if I'm going to play myself. Kind of depends on. I'll spend some time with the meta over the summer, but I'm happy to go and dad it. I mean, we were all, kids at some point playing this game, and our parents had a role in that. And so it's like, if I take them and they have a good time and I can commentate or something, I can just play some sealed events. It'd be fun.
Yeah, that's really cool. And now, as the bulk of the players are, 35 to 45 years old, and people are starting to have kids who are starting to be able to, 10, 12 years old, even a little younger, a little older, and grasp all that stuff. And that's really exciting to kind of have a next generation come up, because I know Walsh has done a great job over these years, but I know if you're 22 right now, there's probably just so much more competition in the gaming world, that are used to video games, all different types of stuff. So I just want to do a quick PSA. If anyone's out there, they have kids, we'd be happy as the PC to help, like kind of like what Gogolin just did, like plenty of commons, even some rares. Like, we just got a donation. I just want to give a shout out to his name's Hunter Brandstetter, and he donated a huge collection, and that's where I've been using all these rares for the retro events, for the retro league, and for the league kits and regional kits and local kits. So, we have that type of stuff. So shout out if there's any, dads and moms in the community who have kids who want to start learning the game, don't hesitate to reach out. We're more than happy. That's a great endeavor that we see as the PC, as stewards of the game, to do that type of stuff. I guess so. We've done these. We did a retro event now. This is the second year that we did an online one. We did a Premier Reflections 2 throwback at last year's World. So you mentioning Worlds, that would probably be a good idea. Maybe do another one, do it on like Friday or Sunday or something like that. Do you have any format preferences?
Yeah, I'll play whatever. Like, I used to play a lot of sealed, like Premier and New Hope and the Jabba's Palace. Like, but I think the new ones, like All the Jedi, is like seems awesome. I love the variants. I mean, because some of the decks are wild. They're because you get everything. I know that's hard to do. I mean, it's just from a product standpoint, it's hard to have a sealed like that. But any format, like even a custom format, like something like we could do Cypher card only with some shields that maybe the community can vote or something. I don't know. However you guys want to do it. I'm down to play any old format.
Yeah, I kind of wonder because Premier to Duster 2 has just always been the most popular retro format on Gemp. That might be the way to go for it in person. Since last time we did it, it was online, and there's still, I think at that time Beggar was X listed, which I'm sure is a big deal in that format to be able to play that. So maybe that's what we'll do. But we'll talk to the tournament committee. But yeah, and I saw your comment about like all the Jedi, maybe do like a LAN party type situation where people bring laptops and that would be the way to kind of thread the needle. Hey, sealed product's really expensive, but
it might be a simple way because it's hard to. I mean, you guys can't foot all that product. I mean, I don't even know if it's possible. And plus, for people to come up with it like on the fly, it's a lot that people have to bring. So just doing it, yeah. I mean, we're there for the community, anyways. Right? I mean, it's still a card game on Gemp. It's handled really well, and the programming is great. So yeah, makes sense.
All right, so that's So maybe we'll do that. I mean, maybe that wouldn't be the craziest thing. Hey, just bring your laptops and we'll do it that way. And hopefully we get several people. But we'll take that back and consider it. But yeah, so obviously just you guys winning this tournament. I'm sure you guys. I guess I wanted to talk to you a little bit about just your team history, because I know you started with Albany and you kind of worked with KTOD and Albany, right, over the years. Are you originally from Albany, right?
I'm from Albany originally, and then I went to school in Nashville. So I hung out a lot with Clint and Steve Lewis and Jim Sells, and like that crew was a good crew too. So I learned a lot from them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, no, I know Justin and Steve been pretty active. I don't know about Jem. He's done am I saying that right? Mike Jem, right?
Yeah, Mike Jem. Yeah, he hasn't played much as far as I mean. So obviously, Mike, Steve, and Justin live in the Boston area, so they know better what each of them are doing. And I would say Justin is kind of like our team historian. I mean, Justin has his memory for this kind of stuff is absurd. I mean, he remembers like I feel like my memory is pretty good, and Justin blows me out of the water. But yeah, we've had a long run, and I remember. Yeah, I mean, is there anything in particular that you want to ask about? Or
well, I know like there was the retro format, it was like 10 years ago or so, right? And I think Justin did really good in that. I'm not sure if you played in it, but I think Hayes did pretty well, right? So I mean, part of me is like me coming back to the game in 2017, I see folks playing older formats and I just like see an appetite for that. But then I've been pleased to see that sometimes during Legacy there were these types of events, and I think just with Gemp nowadays it really just kind of supercharges it, right? Because people can build their decks, they can test them, they don't have to go in cold, where it's a lot easier to tweak decks from that angle. But yeah, I mean, obviously you guys have so many top eights and from the years, I guess. I mean, your last tournament you played in Endor, right? I think you won it, right, in 2019.
I don't remember.
I think that was the infamous Harpster when he drew 8 instead of 12.
That happened. Yeah, that happened for sure. Yeah, I remember. Like, I mean, I played in so many tournaments. Like, I honestly I have like a little like a trophy cabinet, and when I look at that, I can remember certain games and who I beat and certain things. But it's like in totality, I'm also getting old. Like my memories. So, but it's fun to tell the kids. For me, like I remember these games sometimes like very vividly, and for them, it's like it's history. I mean, it's kind of like what's happened. So it's fun.
Yeah, it's so cool because this game has so many cards and so many interactions that I'm sure that people just associate. They see a certain card, like I remember the one time that this happened with this card and that type of thing, which is the beauty of this game, that it's so complex. But the beauty and sometimes the barrier to entry. But hopefully we can just keep lowering that in a lot of different ways.
I mean, Jemp's been amazing, and what the PC has done is just incredible. And I mean, like I don't know if I would have played the retro format if the Coruscant rare sheet hadn't been a prize. I mean, not that it matters. I mean, like on one hand, but it's cool to play for something, to really play for something unique. And so it was like for you guys to do that. I mean, that's like incredibly generous, obviously, also, and to offer the rares like for the kids is like fantastic. I mean, they can build a set. Like I mean, like Benji is like praying for lateral damage. Like a card like that is like super strong, but he doesn't have one. And like it's like it's funny, it's like, and I could give them one of mine, but it's like, it's for them to earn it or to feel like they've earned it is a nice thing.
Yeah. And that's, Yeah, I mean that's also another part of the beauty of this game is the collecting. Like when I came back to the game, I was building up my collection, and it was almost like that journey of finding all
Oh
the
yeah.
cards. And the very last card I had to get was a Japanese "Don't Get Cocky" from Brian Fred, and it's just like you do that, you feel great, and then like it's like, oh, there's almost like a rush of trying to find all this stuff, like the Japanese Vader, but that's pretty neat. But yeah, no, and we do have a lot of these prizes, and I frankly I think one of the um, I think just I'm in this area. I'm near Scott. I'm near the storage unit. I think that's a way that we have a lot of this stuff, and just the logistics of getting it has gotten a little smoother in that way because we definitely have a lot of stuff. And like I said, it's the PC's mission to hold events, to reward people for playing, to incentivize people for playing. So like I grabbed a couple other sheets. I think what I might do for Minneapolis is I got a the theme is going to be Cloud City. So for the Constellation event, I think I have a Cloud City Commons light side uncut sheet that looks beautiful. I think the artwork in Cloud City has always been like the best.
Oh
So
yeah.
that type of stuff. But yeah, I mean, I think it was Baroni who definitely mentioned, I think when I first started last year's retro event, he's like, can't we put like $20 on the line, $25 on the line? And it's trying to thread that needle of, we don't want it to be prohibitive to some people, because some people they're very, very casual, and even $10 is like, it's just kind of like mentally like
Yeah, it's
the money
philosophical
aspect.
too. Yeah.
So yeah, we can definitely thread the needle of, we need to make it a free event, have legitimate prizes, and and not feel bad in any way. That it's definitely part of the mission again to give out stuff and reward people for performance, and definitely for participation as well. So yeah, we had like I think close to 40 people in the Decipher Cards Only event. And yeah, it was, I've said this a couple times, but it actually isn't that popular of an event on Gemp. But I think, and again, this was a Baroni suggestion, just with it being 20 years anniversary of the PC. I think it tied in well. What are you thinking for the premiere of Death Star 2? Because you and your Paulo and Benji are both doing the Retro League event 3, which is premiere of Death Star 2. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, like I like all my decks I kept back then, like I kept on deck tech, and so like I basically can't access
Nice.
them anymore. I wish I had like written them out or something, but it's at the time that was like cutting edge, and I remember like writing articles and stuff. But it's kind of fun building things from scratch. I love the sample decks.
Mhm.
So like I copied my hidden base X-Wings from the sample list.
That's right.
That's mine. So that's like my deck. So like I feel like a lot of loyalty to play it.
Oh yeah, that's
I
really
feel
neat.
like Dark Side. I looked at Bastion's Rangus deck. I think it's interesting, and I played Rops that year. It's year 2000. It's like this year that Matt
Mhm.
Sokol won
Yeah.
Worlds. So I love Rops. I think Huntdown seems like it has a lot of. Oh, no, sorry, Huntdown. I feel like Dark Side has a lot of options.
Yeah.
And Light Side is more reactive, but again, because the pace is slower, I feel like there are a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, and that's well. The one thing I'll push back a little bit, because mobilization points is just wild. Like the activation can get pretty crazy.
Oh yeah, sure.
But that's really the one thing with the docking bays and that +2.
Yeah, sure. But it also leaves. I mean, there's like that's the thing. It's when it's not like too many auto pulls. I mean, so if you're gonna throw Oslo at a docking bay, I mean, I can counter with like Tycho. I can play 4 Boston Spies or something, and it's like there's room. There's room for that kind of creativity, which I miss, and I understand also like wanting to get the game set up faster, because like sometimes the in the retro event we just played, and it was just like a lot of turns are just like activate go, or draw, and it's like so there. I get the rationale, and I'm certainly like I don't want to be seen as criticizing the PC at all, because I feel like everything that people have done. I mean, I used to be on development, and the amount of work that goes into that, and playtesting and designing cards and stuff is ungodly. So like, to everyone who's still involved with that, I mean, it's like thank you for keeping the game going. Certainly, if the game ever does, I mean, I feel like historically the game is reset every, I don't know, whatever, 5 to 8 years, whatever. I don't know the actual numbers, but it's like, if the game ever does do that, and they do something where they kind of keep a certain number of virtual cards, or they they look at that, like I'll certainly like come back in, and I will try to play Worlds this year if it's just that I mean, I don't you don't know me, but it's like the way I've always approached the game is that like
Yeah.
I'm like 1,000% when I decide to play an event.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
What I mean? So yeah, so I can't like, so if it just doesn't feel like something that I can commit myself to, then I'll sit out. But I would totally try to go. Especially for kids, I think it's a great thing. And yeah.
Yeah, no, and that's I think there's a lot of people like that. We're just wired so competitively that if we can't go, like you said, like 1,000%, it's kind of like this is it's tough to get up for it. Otherwise, just kind of take a casual approach.
Yeah.
But Oh yeah, no, I don't envy design in that they have to always kind of thread this needle of new cards, kind of new mechanics, but be careful not to have too many cards and not too many different things. They don't want to have too wide open, but not too narrow, and all that
Yep.
stuff is so difficult. And then yeah, I mean, I know I was just playing a game last night. I was playing against Ryan Serson's Mind What You Have Learned, and I think it's ironic that Scott has made that criticism a couple of times of just so much redrawing and modification of destinies, and it's just like, and Mind What You Have Learned probably like the worst of it, of just like subtract, redraw, taking the hand,
Right.
like all that stuff. That's one of the things I definitely sometimes get frustrated with, and that's where when we play these retro formats, it's like, oh, my opponent just drew a one, and it just sticks.
It's a
Like,
one.
that's
Yep.
it. There's no
Yeah.
Jedi Live, there's no Sith Fury, there's no Dark
Yep.
Time from the Rebellion, all that stuff.
Or like adding destinies is hard to do in the old, so it's like you remember like yeah, just like putting together like I don't know, Major Pano and Major Orlando Brit or whatever, adding a destiny is amazing. Like it's and I feel like in open, like adding a destiny is like, I mean, yeah, you better go into a battle drawing multiple destinies, otherwise you're just gonna get rolled.
Yeah, you mentioning Major Pano just made me think again about a point I wanted to bring up about all the Jedi. That's one of the neatest things about that is that you crack your packs, you make your decks, and you just like use all these cards that a lot of times you would never use in open.
Oh yeah.
But they're kind of like, I think I said this before, like in some other place, but Chief Retwin is like awesome in that format.
Oh yeah.
He can just block a drain, just use 3 force every turn, all right, first strike, draw their fire, come out, that type of thing, or like a sniper or something like that. But
yeah. For all the players who played for a long time, like these cards like Chief Retwin, like they have flavor, like they have a feeling to them, right? Because we've cracked open the packs and we've tried to break the cards, we've tried to, or like, I mean, I guess like Tom Hade's still doing that with Chief Bass and other stuff like that. But like yeah, like I got blown out the other day by some guy on playing all the Jedi because I thought Dennet Both was 2 ability. Like he looks like he's 2 ability. I mean, everyone's 2 ability, but he's 1 ability, so I got killed. But like drawing the 2 cards when you play him is awesome. Like having the kind of weird quasi Mosep game text is great. I mean, you wouldn't put him in most tournament decks, but like it's fun to be able to play them like competitively.
Yeah, and it's cool because I have some of these like geographic leagues. I think in like the templated league circuit, we did like 5 events and we threw all the Jedi. And I think pretty much all the leagues have been doing it. And I know Pittsburgh, like Matt Carulli loved it, and I think Yavin Four's doing all the Jedi now, and we did it for Coruscant. So yeah, it's really a great boon. And shout out to Lyndon Pater, who's a British player who kind of came up with the idea generally, and then Adam Fletcher kind of executed it with programming it in Gent. But I think it's been definitely like the best sealed format that has come about. Because
it's great. And I played Steve Skilton's. I played limited resources like years ago, and it was also really fun. It sucks that it didn't catch on in the same way, but it's still great. And I mean, I played sealed like back when Jump was starting, and it was always for New Hope. It was, and I remember when Death Star 2 came out, Death Star 2 Endor, whatever. It's coming back now. I hadn't played in years. Like it's nice to see all the different formats because it's just something else for a different group of people, and it's fun.
Yeah, and that's where it's really exciting, I think, to start translating, folks who come back to the game or learn the game for the first time on Gemp, hopefully turning that into, and then the pandemic obviously was a factor here, but turning that into people going to in real life events of maybe they're locals, maybe they're majors, or I really would like to keep tacking on these retro or alt format events to majors. I think would be really neat because I think there's definitely, the very least, we should be able to get like a dozen people to do these things and put some pretty sweet prizes on the line.
Totally. And like for the kids, like opening packs like means something. I'm just showing you a picture. This is Benji. He opened his all the Jedi last night, and he got Qui-Gon EPP, and he's like super. I mean, you can't tell. I'm sorry, but it's like awesome. He's so happy, and it's like we all remember the feeling of opening a pack, or getting an Obi-Wan or something, and it's like these kids don't get that, but they do through Gemp, and even though it's not a physical card, it has value. It really does.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, and you get, and the cool thing with all the Jedi, you get those reflections. So sometimes you get foils. So yeah, and that's a even bigger surprise because that can be from a broad range of stuff. And
it goes into a collection. Like whether or not, like, I mean, since every card's available, it means less, but it's still like they feel like they have a collection. Which is nice.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And that's where Kevin Yap, who's been making all these different packs, these green packs, these blue packs. I think Eric Hunter, maybe Hayes as well. Just that feeling of, even if the pack is just foil V slips, just the suspense and just the nostalgia that goes along with opening up a Star Wars CCG related surprise package of some sort.
Yeah,
is really cool. And we've gotten a lot of positive feedback about that. So yeah, I know it's a lot of effort. And Dan with the Holotheatre Heroes, I think those are so much effort, but I think they're well received. And yeah, and that's definitely on Jump when you crack it open and can put it in your all the Jedi decks. That's awesome. So we talked about a couple different retro events. We talked about congratulations again on the Decipher cards only, taking that down. Yeah, Casey kind of drew a tough draw there with 111-1 and kind of like a 1-on-3, but it happens, right?
Yeah, Steve snuck in. I didn't think that Steve was going to make it, to be honest, because Brad Kipple, who was Ohio originally, he went to Albany, so I knew him when he moved to Albany, like back in the day.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, his strength of schedule was good, so I just thought that it just wasn't going to work out. Like, Steve was going to miss out by a percentage, but obviously having the three of us in gave Casey, it put him in an impossible situation to get through all three of us, I think.
Yeah, and Brad actually just qualified this month. He went 12-0 in the OCS, which is
nice.
Third straight year that he's one of the top 16. So really strong player, and he's really into him and Timo Dussel, who's a German player you might not know, but he those guys play so much sealed, and they play like every format, and they're really good at they're really good at like everything, and they're always, every time I look at those alt format leaderboards on Jump, it's always like the two of them towards the top. So yeah, it's always interesting to see certain folks who are they have a very wide reach with their different formats. And
he knows his stuff. Yeah, I mean, I'll just give a little story about Brad. So he was in Ohio, and he moved to Albany, and he like let some people know. And at the time, he was like, when ratings, like everyone checked the rating on like the Decipher. He was over 2000s. He was really good, you know. Mm-hmm. And but our Albany store had a lot of pride. Like we were very like, we gotta take the rating. We would try to go to other tournaments, try to take people's rating, And when Brad moved over, he came to tournaments, and like his rating dropped from like 2000 to like 1800. I mean, he was getting like pummeled, but he was always like super nice, super humble about it, super like, he came every week, and then he obviously got back up, but it was like a great thing to invite someone like, like Brad to our community. And I feel like, because I mean, having played in Albany, having played Nashville, having teamed with Boston guys, it's like you learn something everywhere. I mean, I remember when I moved to Nashville, I was a good player and I went there for school, but like, I mean, I learned a lot from Clint and Steve. I mean, those guys, like, they had a different style, and the Boston guys have a different style. They were the ones I feel like that pioneered like the high, every destiny is a 4 or higher kind of thing, kind of thing. And
I remember Eric told a story once where he and this was on a quick plug to Kendall's podcast. I think it was like a couple of years ago, but KendallCast.ninja is his thing. But he told a story about how he went from Massachusetts, this is Eric, down to Albany in a big event. I think he won it. He was talking about, but yeah, there's so many good players. I mean, even in Philly, I remember like the Chris Praskaks and Gogolin.
Oh yeah.
And John Lally and Ross Heroes. There were so many players that just had super high ratings. I remember I feel like I was getting fed to the wolves a lot when I first started playing. But we had a Battle of Midway a couple times, right? Did you go to that?
I went to Battle Midway. Yeah, that's where I first played Scott Lingro. He played like I played like Throne Room, like Revolution, and Revolution, like everything. It was awesome, and it was a great way to like. Yeah, that was in Binghamton, New York. Is that right?
I think so. Yeah, I remember we carpooled up with some of the Philly people, or I carpooled up with some of the Philly people. Yeah, it's good time.
It's kind of crazy to think. I mean, because back then the world was really different, right? I mean, the internet was just still kind of nascent, and like people, like each community had its identity. But imagine like. It's fun to kind of imagine like the same players from the same time, but with like Facebook and with Slack and with all these things. And it just would have felt really different, but it's great to be able to have, I love like getting to know a group of guys really well. You get to see them every week, for years. Mm-hmm. And it's like a ton of good memories playing this game.
Yeah. I remember you mentioned the ratings, because I think last year with the 2021, the Premier Destiny 2 Retro event, one of the prizes that came up with was like a bounty hunting, where I got a link to like the old Decipher ratings. Anyone in like the top 100, and if anyone defeated them, they got like an extra prize. But yeah, it was interesting seeing there was a bunch of names on there. It was like, oh, I didn't realize that player was an old school player. Oh, I didn't realize that. I think Kipple might have been on there. I think Brad Reinhold might have been on there. There was a couple of people I didn't realize. I was like, oh, these guys are like OGs, and a lot of them have come back in the last couple of years. So obviously some very active throughout Legacy and everything. But
is there any way to get a system like that up and going with Gemp? Because I wonder, that might be another way to get another incentive. I mean, because there's no like cost to it in terms of like money or putting up $10 or anything. But if people played a tournament and it upped like some kind of standing, it might.
Yeah, a couple of people have mentioned that. I think one, it probably would be possible, and I know Adam Fletcher, our technology advocate, like he can just be a wizard with the data, but it's just a matter of what do you include versus exclude. Like, do you include all open series leagues? But they do it for the OCS, so that's like there's like an ELO rating system.
Okay,
yeah, it's really neat. I think the top people are probably Bastion, Desai, Myers are up there, and I'll have to send you the link, or maybe I'll put it in the Holotheatre. It's really neat. Because yeah, it's all ELO ratings. Like if you're, I think the base, if you beat someone who has the same rating as you, it's like 16 points.
Yeah, sure. It's a chess rating system. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's cool. But they just do it for OCS because I think that's the most like contained environment.
Sure.
It's still low random. It's not like Swiss the way that all the events back in the day would be. But yeah, no, that's good feedback. Maybe we'll try to do something like that and make it. If people would like it and enjoy it, I'm not sure all that goes into it, but
right.
Yeah, it would be. It's always kind of neat in tracking people's progressions and I beat this person, they're really high, or
yeah, totally. Like, or you just like if you don't know who the person is, but you look at the rating, it's like, oh, this person's really good. It's like I used to do going to chess tournaments, like, oh, I don't know this person at all, but he's like 200 points higher than me. I got to be careful. It makes you like approach it a different way.
That was always exciting back in the day when you went to an event and then you were like anxiously seeing when your ratings would get refreshed on the Decipher.
Oh, totally. Yeah, it's fun. Especially, I mean, everything's automated now. I mean, if it's a system you kind of set and forget, then maybe do like a sealed rating and like a non-sealed or something. I don't know how you guys would do it, but it wouldn't make sense to have this, the sealed rating be the same as an open rating or something like that.
Yeah. No, this is great. I know we're kind of coming up a little over our limit, but yeah, this is awesome, Jonny. Lots of great stuff to talk about, and good to see you around and playing these retro events, and yeah, hopefully Worlds works out. But yeah, maybe we'll meet in the current Retro League event that's going on now. But hopefully you and your sons play in the next two events as well.
Yeah, I didn't know they were there. So now that because I don't keep up as much as I should, but it's like since I played the first one, then I was looking around and yeah, I'll totally take a look for sure.
All right, well, sounds good. All right, well, thanks so much for joining, Jonny. Yeah, and everyone who tuned in, we'll see you next week. I'm not sure if Dan will be back hosting Holotheatre at that point and done with his move, but either way, there will be a Holotheatre next week on June 8th. All right, thanks again, Jonny.
Take care.
All right, bye.
Bye.